Imperial Stormblade number 376 has had better days in its career. All right, so we're going to go ahead and clean this up. This was the first affordable Stormblade I've seen in about, well, since 2017. It's the year 2023 as of this recording, but managed to actually get this one for an affordable price. All the parts are here. Nothing seems permanently damaged with the exception of the commander's hatch and the main hatch. But I do have the doors, and it does give us an opportunity to actually complete this thing and dull it all up with the hatches open and a driver and a commander in both of these positions. You rarely see that. Fortunately, the new hybrid plastic resin kit, the commander's hatch is one solid piece, so you actually can't pop it out if you wanted to. So there we go. And road wheel assemblies are actually, those are a pain in the butt. So whenever I get these used, they're actually, it's a good idea, or it's a more pleasant experience to actually get these things intact, but with the road wheel assemblies not glued in there. And we can go ahead and glue these up, dull them all up, and paint them up before I actually put them inside the slots for them. But let's go ahead and get started. I am going to be using an airbrush. It's my first airbrush job, so hopefully I don't mess up this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to to get my hands on one of these models, because I don't think another one is going to show up on eBay for a long time. There is one. It is missing the official certificate, and they want almost $1,000 for it, so no thanks. But let's see. Let's go ahead and try to make some magic happen here. All right, and here is the end result. Fortunately, I didn't have to actually replace any of the pieces. Nothing was missing or damaged so badly I needed to either cast or find a donor vehicle to give it something new. But I think she turned out pretty. One thing I don't like is how this gun is sticking at a 3 o'clock position. Fortunately, I really didn't want to risk damaging it to try to move it to the forward firing position. But I just got to be a little bit careful. She's probably going to be a display piece. The stencil did chip a little bit, but I might give it some character. I might actually go back with a brush and polish it up, or put some pock marks on there, make it look like it took some gunfire. I already have some scoring on the edges. As you can see, there's a little bit of metal showing on the on some of the edges there. But there she is in all her glory. It's amazing to think that they got this much intricate detail back in the early 2000s on one of these. No CAD, no computer designing. Everything was handmade. Very beautiful model. I know I'm going to sound like a classic car collector, but they really don't make them like this anymore. But tell me what you think. If you're one of the younger players, let me know if you prefer the original or the newer model. Thank you so much. All right, lastly, I want to do a side-by-side comparison between the original Stormblade from Forgeworld and the resin plastic hybrid kit from Forgeworld as well. This was actually a release of 3 hybrid super heavy kits. Forgeworld discontinued the other 2. It was the Shadow Sword and the Storm Sword, because you cannot make this in plastic. They still sell it at Forgeworld for now, at least. They've been cutting down on a lot of the more esoteric, exotic units. I think that's pretty unfortunate. This guy fell victim to that a long time ago. That is the Macharius Omega. Unfortunately, there's no replacement for that, so these things are as rare as hen's teeth. I've not seen one of these come up on the market for a very long time. I have seen one back in 2018 go on eBay. It was brand new, old stock, and that thing sold for over $1,000, which is kind of a shame. I really do like the extended universe lineup of Imperial vehicles for Warhammer 40k. It's kind of a shame when these more unique and interesting designs disappear and fans have to pay exorbitant prices for old stock on eBay or Troll Trader or some kind of swap forum on Facebook. But anyway, this guy is smaller. Let's go ahead and put these guys side by side. Using Imperial measurements, it's about an inch shorter. The length, though, is roughly the same. For those of you guys unaware, these sponson guns can actually be mounted here or in the rear. With the original kit, they were all on the rear. And you'll see that with the original Bane Blades, the Mars and Lucius pattern, as well as the Storm Sword and the Shadow Sword tanks. We'll just go from back to front. So these cannons are actually the same. I'm not sure if that's correct, but I'm pretty sure Forgeworld just copied this design and ported it over just for simplicity. There really wasn't a need to redesign that. The gun shield up here is a little bit different, but that's just to accommodate the new superstructure. This is not actually part of the superstructure. That's a extra piece you used to be able to get from Forgeworld. That's just some extra gas tanks. So if you're wondering what it looks like, you could go on the Forgeworld website and it'll show you a bare bones. But I did just put some extra stowage on there just to give it some character. I mentioned this earlier, but the commander's hatch is one solid piece. You cannot prop that open like you can with this one right here, which is kind of a shame. But like I said, I think I'm the only one that's ever actually done this, unfortunately. I'm more than likely wrong. I'd have to go through Instagram to find other guys who own this tank and the other casemate super heavy tanks, but unfortunately it's something that not a lot of people took advantage of. This can be, yeah, I actually never glued it down, but these do come with a unique commander that you can slide in here. So that's a real nice bonus for buying such a unique model. And I did say they don't make them like they used to. You actually have molded turret hatches that run the entire length of each side, as well as, it's kind of hard to see here, but this it has a little bit of texturing on it to make it look like these were actually welded on. If you look at the original Imperial armor books, they mentioned that these tanks have additional armor bolted or riveted or welded on just to give it a little bit of extra protection. You know, these are huge investments when it comes to the Imperium, so they want to go ahead and give it as much protection as possible, and they're going to be facing some nasty things. These things could be facing Titans, bioweapons from the Tyranids, so they want to go ahead and protect that investment as much as possible. Things are cast differently, but they serve the same purpose. These right here, these las cannons, you know, they've got wires sticking out to what would be a targeting assembly or an optic. So they're very intricate compared to, let's say, these. And one thing that's really nice, if you ever look at 3rd edition las cannons for the Imperial Guard, they were very simple. I don't blame the guys who made them, but whoever designed these las cannons for the super heavy tanks, they put a lot of effort into it. They both have a commander's coaxial heavy bolter. That is a different heavy bolter design, so they're not that's not something that they just ported over when they made the hybrid kit. It's something unique. I don't know why they did that, but they did. And there's no smoke dischargers on the superstructure. They just decided to port over the plastic smoke dischargers from the Bane Blade plastic super heavy kit. You do have some auxiliary fuel tanks here. There are different designs, but they're roughly the same shape. This is a resin piece. If you have no experience with the resin kit, the plastic Bane Blade auxiliary fuel tanks are just 2 oil drums. I believe they took from there was a background accessories kit that you used to be able to buy in the early 2000s, and I think they literally just took that piece and used that to design for the plastic Bane Blade. Let's see. One thing that you did get with the Forgeworld tanks that you don't get with the plastic. One thing you don't get with the plastic tanks is these mud guards. You also got these with not with the Bane Blades. These did not come on the Bane Blades, but you did get them on the Storm Sword and the Stormblade. The Shadow Sword did not get those as well. And that's pretty much it. You do, you do have some different design cues. The riveting is more defined on this superstructure, for example. than it is here. It's just 4 bolts on each corner. I was not able to make use of it, but this actually was another piece that you could swing open. There's some tools hanging from the interior of the hatches. Not much to say there, but and not to bash this one. I do like this one a little bit more, but this one is a pretty cool model. As you can tell, I also have a spare. So I think it's worth your money. It's not actually that expensive, even with the gradual Games Workshop price increases over the years. It's still a pretty nice, affordable model. And then lastly, with the Machari, this has been discontinued, but the Plasma Blast Gun is roughly the same profile, but it's a different cast piece. They didn't recycle it like they did with the plastic resin hybrid kit. But when you do, let me just move all these together. When you do have them together, it does look like it comes from a shared universe. Pretty cool stuff. But I have some more classic out of production Imperial Guard models. Maybe I'll make some videos on those as well if there's an interest for it. But thank you for watching.